Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to the Profit Madness channel. My name is Alex and in today's video we're going to be looking at Bitcoin and a couple other things. But before we start, as always, remember to like this video if you find this type of content useful and subscribe for more content like this. Alright guys, there's a lot that we're going to be covering in this video. And the first thing that we're going to do is head over to Involio because a couple of days ago I made this post right here saying watch out for 11.3, which is the 11th of March. If you know, you know. And then I asked, does anyone know what happens on this date? And I had a lot of comments thrown at this, but essentially only one person got it. And basically what happens on March 11th is the Fed Bank Lending Program expires, which is huge. And first of all, I'm not a really narrative type of guy. I really could not care less, but it's kind of important right now. It is important because I'm going to help you take a trip down memory lane and see how everything is currently fitting inside of the puzzle. I usually stick to the charts and I choose to take this approach this time as well, but what I'm going to show you in this video helps me back my claims even further. Okay, so essentially on 11th of March, the Fed ends its bank term funding program, which is the BTFP, that has kept insolvent banks afloat. Ever wondered how to create a cascading liquidity crisis? Now, I'm not saying we're going into a crisis 4 days from now, which is at the moment of the recording 2 days from now, but this can happen later. Okay, I also stated seek safety. Then we saw Bitcoin hit 70,000, and I also stated that Bitcoin is kind of done in my opinion, and I'll help you understand why. Also, one thing that I've tried to remind people of, which, by the way, guys, shout out to you guys. We're almost 3,000 people following my portfolio on Involio, which is huge. We're also almost at 1,000 followers. We are just shy of 152 followers. So when we get to 1,000 followers on here, I'm going to give away my #1 pick for this old season, and I believe it's going to be making possibly 100x, if not even more. I own quite a bit of it, and I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to want this. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts during this video. Make sure that you follow me on Involio, like and subscribe, because everything that you guys are doing will help you get to this goal even faster, okay? And one thing that I try to remind you of is this. I'll try to say it one more time. This is the most important level for you BTC bulls currently, the area between 65 and 67k. If you want precise levels for the Bitcoin perpetual chart on Binance, I have highlighted the levels for you, which is these levels right here. Right now in the video you probably cannot really see them, but if you go on Involio you will be able to see them. If you find resistance here, start looking down to 48 and 38k. If you break above and find support, you absolutely need to break through the all-time high, not a mere wick, which is exactly what happened even during this 70k all-time high, and close candles above that resistance. Even if a new all-time high is made, if support doesn't get confirmed, you're still looking down. And before we go into the charts, let's go back on this thing, which is the BTFP. I'm going to help you see how everything kind of gets together in the grand scheme of things. So I'll show you now an article that was published on March 13 of 2023, stating that Fed starts the stealth quantitative easing. So 5 things to know for this week. So it basically started around March 13. If you go on the chart of March 13, and right now we are on the monthly for Bitcoin, this is the month of March. So we could say that after this news, Bitcoin was able to rally up to the current levels, right? So we could say that maybe not directly because of this, but this somehow played a part in Bitcoin moving up as a narrative, of course. Then we can see that if I scroll down a little bit, the result has come from the Fed stepping in to backstop depositors' money. On March 12, it announced the Bank Term Funding Program. Depositors will have access to all of their money starting March 13, and whatever. I'm not trying to read the whole article. You guys can read it if you want. But essentially what I wanted to show you in this article right here is that after this news and this type of stealth of quantitative easing, which is very similar to what happened during the pandemic. Don't quote me on that, but essentially we had an injection of capital, essentially of liquidity for banks that were already meant to fail. That's basically what I'm getting from this news. Now, if we move to another piece of content that was released on January 24th of 2024, it states that Bitcoin price risks 30K over supercharged inflation. I want to scroll down a little bit. As Cointelegraph reported, since the meltdown of March 2023, the US government has offered support in the form of bank term funding program and a lifeline that is now due to expire, which is expiring 2 days from now. The only thing that trumps fighting inflation is a financial crisis. Let's go back a little bit. Ace thinks that this will come to pass despite the fact that banks' financial predicaments have not gone anywhere. This and other questions over liquidity, however, depend on Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's next moves. That is why, to get the cuts, QT taper, which is quantitative tightening, I believe, and the possible resumption of quantitative easing, the market believes is already in the bag come March. We first need a few banks to fail when the BTFP is not renewed. So this is huge. It's a very important thing to be looking out for. Now, let's move on. Why economists are warning of another US banking crisis, and this was published on February 26 of 2024. It's basically for the same exact reason as stated before, which is the BTFP, right? So we have even more explanation of how this works. I'm not going to read all of it. Quantitative tightening. Essentially, we are talking about potentially getting into a financial crisis, which is huge. And the most recent leg of quantitative easing began in March 2020 in response to the pandemic. That's why I said earlier, this is very similar to what happened last time. Okay? When people tell you that this time is different, when you look at this stuff, it's really not. That ended in 2022. When central banks began a reverse program called quantitative tightening. Obviously, if we go on the chart, you can see that in 2022, then we had this dump afterwards. Then we had this new type of quantitative easing, right? Which helped Bitcoin and the other cryptos to move up even further. But right now, this thing is now possibly coming to an end on March 11th, right? Now, we have more news for this month of March. These 8 events in March could wreak havoc on the crypto market. Of course, number one spot is the BTFP. Then we have CPI data to come out on March 12th, which is 1 day after the BTFP news. So expect a lot of volatility in this coming week. Then we have an Ethereum upgrade FTX first creditors meeting. Let me read this a little bit. The first creditors meeting for FTX on March 15th aims to establish a liquidation committee as part of the official liquidation process. This meeting is crucial for stakeholders to understand the progress of the liquidation, the claims process, and the impact on the crypto market. The formation of the liquidation committee and this information shared during the meeting could provide insights into the fallout of FTX collapse and future regulatory scrutiny. One thing about FTX, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've actually liquidated their assets. I don't think they paid back anyone. Like, I also used FTX, but gladly I did not lose anything. I only had like $1 left on there, but because of that $1, I'm still getting notifications via email about this case, and now I'm supposed to be getting my money back. Of course, I didn't apply for any of it. It's just $1. I don't really care. But one thing that I'm pretty sure of, unless I'm wrong, is that nobody got their money back yet. Okay? And it's not money, they're going to be getting back their cryptos, from my understanding. So, potentially, FTX still has to dump on the market. Interesting, right? Then we have the NVIDIA GPU. This is more relevant, I believe, to AI. Not too sure about this, but whatever. Then we have the interest rate decision, okay, for the Federal Reserve on March 20th. Then we have the SEC fraud charges against Do Kwon on March 25th. Then on March 28th, we have the Sam Bankman-Fried sentencing, which could still play out in an interesting way in the market. But either way, let's just stick to what I'm currently focused on, which is the BTFP news, okay? So let's go now on Twitter. Now, ignore that this is an XRP community post. That's not really the point. I don't really care about talking about my beliefs around XRP, especially not in this video, but let's just look at some things that are also coming up and that have actually happened in the course of the last few days. So again, we have this March 11th event that is happening. We have FOMC on March 19th and 20th. Then around March and April, Fed's overnight reverse repo drying up, which means that quantitative tightening kicks in. Interesting. When did that happen before? It happened after the quantitative easing during the pandemic, right? You can read it by yourself. Response to the pandemic. Then it began a reverse program called quantitative tightening. Interesting. So you're telling me that this is coming up as well during this month and next month? Interesting, right? Very, very interesting. Now, let's move to this piece of content. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, alarming statement from today: there will be bank failures. Seems like he knows exactly what will happen when BTFP ends on March 11th, right?
Sure, there will be bank failures, but this is not the big banks. If you look at the very big banks, it's not a first order issue.
Let me take it back one more time.
Sure, there will be bank failures, but
there will be bank failures, straight from the horse's mouth.
This is not the big banks. If you look at the very big banks, it's not a first order issue for any of the very large banks. It's more, smaller and medium sized banks that have these issues. We're working with them. We're getting through it. I think it's manageable is the word I would use, but it's a very active thing for us and the other regulators, and it will be for some time.
Thank you.
Sure, there will be bank failure.
Now, we are hearing it from Jerome Powell. Now, let's go on this piece of content. And Finance Slot stated, nobody's asking what happens to regional banks if the government shuts down on March 22nd after BTFP is taken away. All of those government employees will be forced to pull deposits out of banks to pay bills right when they have to pay taxes, leaving regionals without liquidity.
Fed board and I, in consultation with the president, determined that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk and significant economic and financial consequences.
So what is your
And we
plan?
made that determination.
Right. So what
these
is
two
your
banks.
plan to keep large depositors from moving their funds out of community banks into the big banks? I'm concerned you're about to accelerate that by encouraging anyone who has a large deposit in a community bank to say, we're not going to make you whole, but if you go to one of our preferred banks, we will make you whole.
Look, I mean, that's certainly not something that we're encouraging.
That is happening right now.
That is happening because depositors are concerned about the bank failures that have happened and whether or not other banks could also
No, it's
fail.
happening
And
because you're
it's-
fully insured no matter what the amount is. If you're in a big bank, you're not fully insured if you're in a community bank.
Well, you're not fully insured. And
You
the big-
were at Signature, and
the
it
big-
just barely met that threshold. You were at Signature.
Well, we felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks. And that's something, given that our judgment is that the banking system overall is safe and sound, depositors should have confidence in the system, and we took these actions.
So is there any discussion that that special assessment would only apply to the larger banks, or was it always assumed the special assessment would cover every bank, including rural banks in my state?
Just going to have to
If we have
move on.
a collapse of the banking system and its economic consequences, that will have very severe effects on banks in Oklahoma that will also be threatened.
I'm just worried about the long-term
We are gonna have to
consequences
move
on our
on.
banks as well.
Very, very interesting to say the least. So, before I get back into the charts, one thing that I will say is that bank runs will essentially take out the liquidity of the banks and whatever, right? I think that humans' reaction to such a news will inevitably, at the beginning, make them do irrational things, such as, of course, taking all the money out of the banks, right? And just stay with cash. I think that people will be taking money out of their investments, which I'm going to show you, by the way, right now. So as you guys can see, we have a BlackRock insider trading alert. The chair and CEO Larry Fink just dumped over 30,000 shares of BlackRock for a total value of over 25 million. And you can see the date of the earliest transaction. It's all happening right now, pretty much, right? Then if we go on unusual whales, we can see that in less than a month, 3 individuals have sold 9.3 billion of stock. Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan sold 150 million of JPM on February the 22nd. Zuckerberg sold 661 million of Meta between January 31st and February 21st. Bezos sold 8.5 billion of Amazon between February 9th and February 22nd. But the 22nd. We're not done because we also have an Apple insider trading alert. The chairman, Arthur Levinson, just dumped 100,000 Apple shares for a total value of roughly 18 million. Both Warren Buffett Warren Buffett and Levinson are selling with shares facing a technical breakdown. Now, if this was to be a bull run, I don't know why these people that are so in the know will be selling right now when they could be selling a lot higher. That's my first thought, right? Why will they be selling if everyone, especially the herd, right? It's always the herd. The 99% of you guys believes that we are in a bull run. You guys believe that there's an old season coming. That's why I'm looking to the other side. Very simply, the 99% of people are always wrong in this market. When I see you that you guys are bullish, I'm obviously need to start paying attention and play defense, because I know what this leads to. It's not the first time that I see a Bitcoin move to the upside. And people that are in their know, that have been in this game for quite a while, I think they can agree with that. We know what's likely to happen eventually. Maybe not to what extent the majority, but if we got in the lows, right, of Bitcoin, because we have always kept up with this asset class, we have been here during the bear market. Look, I believe even in Involio, right, people that have been in here for quite a while in this game, they are now de-risking, right? We are in a position where we have taken out at least our initial investments, and maybe we have even taken a little bit of profit. Sure, we are not, of course, fully outside of the market, because that would be a very stupid risk in my opinion, but we have enough capital in cash at this moment in time, right? And if you are worried when you hear me say this kind of stuff, it's probably for very simple reasons. You either got in way too late, or you're way too overexposed at the wrong prices. So you're relying on prices on keep on going up. Another possibility is that your biggest bags that you're currently holding have not reached the prices that they were at in the previous cycle, so you're still in a drawdown. So when I say, or someone else says that, look, there is a possibility of us going down, you automatically get scared. You say it's FUD, that we are full of shit and whatnot. But it is not. Look, the market doesn't care how positioned you are. It doesn't care if you're in a drawdown or in profit. The market will do what it wants to do. So at this current moment in time, I'm choosing to play safe. I'm not neither bullish or bearish. But if I were to pick a decision right now, I would be bearish, okay? When I say I'm not bullish nor bearish, well, look at my portfolio. And this has to be updated because I did a little bit of selling. So I'm currently around maybe 44% cash, and the rest is in altcoins. So either way I win, right? This is the best position that you guys can have. You need to be still exposed into the market, especially in altcoins, because there's a lot of money to be made. But at the same time, you need to be rational enough to have some capital in the sidelines for a future opportunity, okay? This way, if things go down, you're not afraid. You're not afraid to be buying, right? You're going to be scooping up these altcoins for very, very cheap when the majority of the market participants already got in. They're now sending a bunch of stupid tweets saying, send it, old season is here. They're looking for every single technical analysis by someone else to validate their thesis of price now ready to move up, when in reality, it's not really like this. Maybe I'm wrong. And the best thing about this is that if I'm wrong, we'll make money. If I am right, I make even more money. And it's going to be fully up to you if you're going to be making even more money in the case of going down, right? So I'm just showing you what I'm doing. Now let's go to the charts, because There's a very cool thing that I found out recently, and I found this on Twitter, I believe. When I found it, I was like, okay, now I understand what is fully going on. Like, now I got it. So before I show you that, guys, make sure that you comment down below your thoughts, leave a like and subscribe. Okay, let's start with the my main chart for Bitcoin. This is the chart that I also showed you in my previous video. Okay, and one thing that we have to see is basically this. Okay, so the situation is currently what I've been stating all this time on Involio and in the previous video. Look, we have made a new all-time high. Has anything changed? No, nothing has changed. We are still in this dealing range. Why? Because this is the most important point if Bitcoin wants to move up or not. Okay, now as you guys can see, we have the same trend lines as from the last video. We're currently finding lots of resistance right here on the last daily chart. Daily candle. We found resistance right here. We closed below this trend line, and this candle right here for today has been quite indecisive. As you guys can see, this is a doji candle, right? So lots of uncertainty in the market. I'm pretty sure this is also because of what is coming in the next 2 days. When we see this kind of behavior, especially if we go on the day 1 hour time frame, you see all these small candles. Sure, it's consolidating. I think it's doing distribution, but nonetheless, this is proposing a very big move coming soon. Okay, one thing that I'm open to and that I've stated on Involio is that I am not how can I say it? I don't think that a new all-time high is out of the reach, because as you guys can see, we only retested the first trend line. We have 2 more to go, right? Maybe we could retest this trend line and make a new all-time high. I'm thinking around 72,000, 72.5. Something along the lines of that. But if we see that scenario, right, I believe that that will be the final trick, and for a very specific reason, right? So as you guys can see, every single other time that we made a new all-time high, as you guys can see, we first made it over here, we dumped. We first made a new all-time high here, we dumped. If we move to 72 or 72.5 and retest this trend line and spend more time than the last 2 times, because the first new all-time high, the time we spent here is less than a minute. The time that we spent on this new all-time high is less than 10 minutes, I believe. This is a 15-minute chart. This candle right here has started, or we could even say 15 minutes, I don't really care, okay? We could say that we made this new all-time high and we stayed above it for 15 minutes. If we get a third drive to the new all-time high and we start climbing up, right, to 72.5, most people, I don't believe they have this trend right here on this chart. They're going to be thinking, oh look, this time we are not dumping right away. We're not dumping. Look, we're so ready. We're so going to go to $100,000 or whatever, right? I think that will be the last final rug pull before a major reversion. The reason why I'm saying 72,000 is because I went on the bookmap, which I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to show on this video, because if I do, my computer I think will lag, because I have a bunch of programs running in the background right now. But I saw some orders waiting to be hit around 72 and 72.5 at most, and that could be a reason for possibly getting that third drive higher. Okay. And I think that even though we're going to be spending maybe a little bit more time compared to the last 2, I think that inevitably that will take us potentially lower than we currently went right now. And right now I'm still looking around 56, 58, possibly even 56 as a very first step, because it's going to be a gradual decrease. And one thing that you need to understand, guys, is that in my opinion, let's go now on the monthly very quickly. As you guys can see, 1 month before the halving, we had this dump. Sure, people could say this is the pandemic dump, whatever, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. If we go on the previous cycle as well, 2017, on March, we had a bearish candle, right? So I believe that what happens is that if what I think will happen goes through and we have a bearish March, I think that people will say, oh, this is normal because every single other March has been bearish for Bitcoin before the halving, whatever. And I think that people will try to find a justification of why that is actually normal. And to be honest, it could be. Look, I don't really care about what Bitcoin does, okay? Even though what I'm going to show you next will make you want to look lower possibly, okay? But talking about right now, I'm still expecting this flash out to at the very least 58 to 54 at the very least. Also will not be surprised if we go even lower than that. Again, I will still be looking down to 36 to 26 at the very minimum, but I think that this will be met afterwards, and maybe not right away. If we met this target right away, that would be extremely awesome in my opinion, but I don't think that it's needed right away. This will be a first confirmation of what will happen next, okay? Now, what do I want to show you guys? I want to show you the S&P 500 on the monthly chart. Oh my god, this is awesome. Let me show you what I got for you guys. So let me remove this because it's not needed. So essentially what this is the run up on the S&P 500 before the 2008 financial crisis. So if I put it right here, okay, this is the run up before, okay, before the dump. And what do we see? We actually see a very similar scenario to Bitcoin, and I'm going to be explaining to you why that is. So essentially what we got right here, guys, it's a range, okay? Ranges, I don't know if you guys know how they work, but essentially when you got a range such as this one, for example, and let's say that you have an exit out of the range to the upside first, you're then going to be looking at a second exit of the range below, and the third one is a move that actually breaks out of the range and moves to the desired direction of the asset, okay? So it's exactly what happened to the S&P 500, okay, during that crash. And as I showed you before, they are now talking about a new financial crisis. So essentially the dealing range is this one. If I go and reverse it, this is the premium, this is the discount, okay? Very simple premium discount range. When the prices exit of a range, what I told you before basically happens most of the time, okay? What else do we see is that the new all-time high for the S&P 500 on 2008 essentially has very similar behavior to what Bitcoin is doing. It's trying to break out and make a new all-time high, but it's not really decisive, Now, this could be a very interesting thing that happens next. And hold on, let me actually fix this for you so it doesn't move. Now, when we first made the new all-time high, we then had a dump. This is on the monthly. We could argue that Bitcoin moves faster than other asset classes. So I'll go back on the weekly, okay, for Bitcoin. And look, I will not be surprised if we are still in this phase right here and we are actually missing a dump. In percentages, I'm not saying that we're going to see the same percentages, because 11% for Bitcoin is actually nothing, right? From the current price, 11% is basically a drop to $60,000. I believe that if we have to go down, we'll be going down by at least 25 to 30%. Percentages and time frames for these asset classes are different between each other, so I won't rely too much on that. But what I'm relying on right now is basically market structure, because market structure, guys, it's basically the same. If we do the same thing that I done on the S&P 500, you should be able to see that oops, my bad. We should be able to see that this is basically a range, right? And we have very similar behavior between the two. So I stated a while ago on Involio, watch this halving be bearish. Okay, I think that maybe if we are going to be making the run to possibly 72,000 before the halving, I think that we're then going to see a market flush out. Then we're going to see something such as this, that the market makes you believe that the dump is done and the halving now is going to be setting new all-time highs for Bitcoin, to then be met by a bearish halving. Because look, halvings are reducing the block reward every single time. Every single time a new halving approaches, the miners require more and higher prices to make a profit on their Bitcoin. Okay, I don't think that, especially with how things are playing out right now, we have done something that has never done before, which is reaching a new all-time high before the halving. I think that it's very, very much possible that we have this scenario playing out for Bitcoin, and we are still in the early phases of it. Now, considering that every single range plays the same, in my opinion, I believe that Bitcoin is en route to go back to these lows and make a new low around possibly, I'm not saying 10,000 because everyone is expecting it. I believe between 15,000 and 12,000, maybe even a bit lower. It doesn't matter for me. But what I'm targeting essentially here is a break of this lows right here. That would be enough. Essentially what happened on the S&P 500. People see a financial crisis, they say, oh, Bitcoin is done and over it, whatever. Then BlackRock jumps in along with the other institutions, they buy the Bitcoin for themselves. Right now, they're not buying the Bitcoin for themselves. I explained this more and more times. They're not buying it for themselves. They're buying it in behalf of clients. They're making money. They're making their money on fees. Okay. So it's going to be very interesting if we have a dump such as this that takes us to around 41,000 or something along the lines of that, possibly even 38 or 36, like a major flash out. I still think that an all season can happen, and if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be making a new video on this if it needs to be done. But at this moment in time, I will say that this is going to be a very huge opportunity to capitalize on. I'm very, very much in the belief that this is what's currently happening right now. And look, it's exciting. I know it may be scary, especially for the newbies, especially for the people that are positionally wrong in the market. They're getting late, they FOMO, they watch every single YouTuber's video that are telling them, look, all season soon, all season soon, all season soon, or whatever. Look, if we get this major flash out one more time, look at what happened to the S&P 500 next. I believe that the Bitcoin and the rest of the market can do this. But first we need to wash out every single other person. Like, retail has to be done and over with. I believe in a concept that is found in baseball, which is the 3 strikes and you're out. This was the first strike in my opinion. This was the second. Whether this is the third or the third is the run up to 72k, it doesn't really matter. I will believe that, I will say that overall, we are currently in the making of the third strike, then you guys are out. Like, the retail is going to be out. 100% they're out. They're saying, look, I already lost so much money, I wasted so much time, whatever. I'm not going to be touching this asset anymore. Bitcoin is a scam, whatever. And then, only then do we see the craziest bull run we have ever seen for crypto. That's my belief. So if you guys like today's video, make sure to like the video, comment down below your thoughts. I really want to know what you guys are thinking, especially with this information that I believe nobody, majority of the people did not tell you this that I'm telling you right now. They're not risking their credibility and whatnot to tell you what I believe that it's coming. And this is exciting. Subscribe for more. Follow me on Involio. And guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.